What's up guys, Fahad here. Welcome back to another automotive review. This is the review of the CFMOTO XO Papio Trail. Huge thanks to CFMOTO Singapore for loaning me this bike for the review. Okay guys, so if you're a new viewer and you haven't subscribed to the channel, help us by subscribing to the channel. Why? Because this will actually trigger the YouTube algorithm to push out all these videos to a wider audience. Once again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you're a returning audience and you have subscribed to us, thank you so much. Okay guys, so welcome back to the city of Medini. When I first saw the Papio for the first time during the KL bike show, I was pretty attracted to it, and finally we have one for review right here. Well, not exactly the one that I saw in KL, but this is rather the sibling or the brother of it. This is the CFMOTO XO Papio Trail. So what's the difference? This version is much more of an off-roader, and you can see like the certain features on this bike itself that makes it off-road capable basically. Kind of somewhat similar to the Grom as well. Basically, now apparently there's three variants in the Papio lineup. There's the ST Papio, which seems to be a Street Fighter Honda CB125 lookalike. We got the XO Papio Racer, a street version with a retro sporty outlook, and finally this one, the XO Papio Trail. So as mentioned, it's something you take off the beaten path and off-road trails as well. Regardless, all three are pocket bikes. All three are meant to be fun, basic, simple machines which are quite straightforward. Getting on the bike right now. It's very light. It's been a while since I last handled a bike this light. 114 kg I must add, typical of a pocket bike in its class. Feels like a toy, feels like something Fisher Price would release. Okay, so starting this bike right now, as you can see, it uses a key. Twist the key, and you can see the gauge cluster lighting up. Push down the starter and kill switch. And I have to say the exhaust note is unnecessarily loud, and it gets louder as you're riding it lah. So clutch in, gear 1. Woo! And I have to say I'm loving the handling of this bike. I can lean and corner aggressively as I want to, and the handling is just right. I can feel the grip of the tires just gripping the road right now. Let's do it one more round, huh? Woo! Man! Of course, CFMOTO made the Papio series in response to the Honda Grom, in which they've marketed it more of a recreational kind of bike. I also feel that this one is also in competition with the CT125 for Honda Trail, in terms of, you know, you can bring it to the campsite, right in the jungle trails with it. But the Trail is much more of a kapchai, and it uses a Honda Cup kind of chassis and setup with a 4-speed automatic transmission. This is more of a pocket bike, and it's a 6-speed transmission, I must add, for such a bike, in which CFMOTO didn't actually need that. And in fact, there's certain features here where I feel that for a pocket bike it's not really necessary, but it's awesome that they put it in, because I think CFMOTO thought riders from developing markets may get a hold of this bike, and such features are good to have, despite being a feature bike. They are all here, you don't need to modify or anything or add on. It's here, like the hazards for example. For a pocket bike it's not really necessary, because maybe riders in the Americas, they will bring this out in the jungle trails, in the beach for example, or they just want to do some stunts with it at the cornfields or something, but they have it here. So I think riders in Thailand, in which the Honda Grom is popular, right, for my assumption, because it's kind of affordable over there. So CFMOTO figured out riders from developing markets will daily this thing. They're gonna want something very versatile as well. They put it on the Papio, which is nice to have. Okay, brakes are very good. Comes with dual channel ABS. Once again, not really necessary I feel, but they put it in, and it's a nice feature to have, regardless, despite the speeds that it's going through. Maybe riders, they're gonna jam brake, and then after that the dual channel ABS actually help the rider in terms of the safety aspect lah. And look at me negotiating this roundabout. As you can see, I'm leaning considerably on it. Woo! Having a lot of fun right now. Handling is very tip-top It leans and corners wherever you point the bike to, and it's just that easy of a ride. I think if you're a new Class 2B rider, you just got your license, you're able to hop on this, handle this bike very easily. It's not a fast bike either, and it adds to this factor where the Papio is not this intimidating bike where they're going to be like, oh man, this machine is like on the edge of control. Am I able to handle this? So once again, targeted at new riders especially. Even though as basic as this machine is, it also is simple and straightforward. Nothing too complicated on here. No very most of features, but yet there's this thing whereby, like the gauge cluster for example, there's a clock on it, which is nice to have. It tells the time. Other pocket bikes, I'm not sure if there's clock on it, but yeah, there's a clock on it, there's a gear indicator, there's a tachometer. Certain feature bikes, they may even skip all of these features altogether. Clutch is very easy, and it comes with a 6-speed transmission as well. Am I repeating myself? I am.
Introduced in 2023, the CFMOTO XO Papio Trail is a retro-inspired pocket motorcycle, going up against the likes of the Honda Gram and the Kawasaki Z125 Pro. Also known by its designation, XO-2, the Papio Trail is an off-road variation. Its sibling, the XO Papio Racer, is a road version with minor cosmetic differences. Engine is 126cc, air-cooled, single-cylinder, 4-stroke, with electronic fuel injection provided by Bosch and a 6-speed manual transmission.
Okay guys, so as usual, we're going to start off with riding posture. Okay, so sitting on this bike, as you can see, there's an upright riding posture. Okay, very much typically like I'm sitting on a normal motorcycle. The higher handlebar really helps. Hands arms stretched out, very comfortable for me to get a grip of the handlebars, and my back is pretty much sitting upright, and also my legs are folding quite a bit of squeezy if you ask me, but it's still manageable. And with a ride height of 76 cm, I'm 165, and as you can see, I'm fully flat-footed on the ground with this bike. So I think vertically challenged riders, no issues at all. And with a weight of 144 kg, you're able to straddle easily, push it very easily. And I think vertically challenged riders, they really love on how easy it is for them to sit on the CFMOTO XO Papio Trail. Right guys, so up next we come to the general design, and according to CFMOTO themselves, official sources, the trail pays tribute to the classic scramblers of the 50s. Being similar to the Racer, obviously it has similar cues and some design adaptation to the Papio Racer, particularly with the twin rounded headlights in the front. Most of the side body plastics is also carried over from the Racer. Its angular, rounded lines give off a modern and futuristic feel, but at the same time, it gives off that retro kind of vibe to it. It feels all too familiar if you ask me, and in some ways, it seems to be inspired by the Husqvarna Vittvillain and Svartvillain as well. I mean, you look at it lah. Especially the side panels over here. The high front fender adds on to the scrambler look to the bike. Additionally, there's also fog protectors as well, functional to protect the rider and Fox from debris respectively. Its seat is a single piece compared to the Racer's split seat aesthetics. The underseat exhaust also provides a nice, unique look to the bike, which I totally love. Really gives off that kind of sporty vibe as well. And finally, if you look carefully, there's actually a hidden Easter egg to the Papio's designation. The XO in the Papio's designation is inspired by gaming consoles' X and O buttons, recognized as essential functions for gameplay.
The X and O designation can be seen in its headlights.
So up next we come to the handlebar controls and gauge cluster. So for the handlebar, for the trail, as you can see, it's higher than on the Racer. This is to of course accommodate to the bike when you're standing up while off-roading on the bike. If you ask me, overall, it provides me a better riding posture, and much more comfortable and easier for me to grip onto the handlebars compared to the Racer, which tends to have a lower handlebar, thus you will definitely bend your body quite a bit. We also got typical mirror stocks
compared to the Racer, in which the Racer they actually uses the bar end mirrors, and personally I prefer this one. My presumption is that maybe it better protects the mirrors from drops. Okay, so up next is the handlebar controls. The handlebar controls is kind of basic. To the left over here, you got the flashing lights in front, high beam, low beam switch, horn. Below that is the signal indicators. To the right over here, we got the combination of kill switch and starter, and also the hazards. And surprisingly, for a feature bike like this, it comes with hazards.
Additionally, the riding control symbols are illuminated and can be seen clearly at night.
Okay, so up next is the combination of analog and LCD gauge cluster. Okay, so surprisingly, the LCD part really tells a lot of information, but it's kind of small, so we need to get in there and have a closer look at the gauge cluster. Okay, so turn it on. Surrounding it, you can see the tachometer, warning lights inside the tachometer, and then the LCD display. Okay, we got the gear indicator. Next to that is we got the time. Below that, the speedometer, the odometer, and the fuel gauge. Okay, so to toggle the gauge cluster, okay, there's two buttons at the side over here. Okay, you press the top button, it toggles between the odometer, trip A, trip B, voltmeter, LED 4, in which this is actually the brightness of the gauge cluster, and back to the odometer. So to toggle all these functions, use the second button below it. And also next to the gauge cluster, to the left, we actually got a place for a USB port, but unfortunately it's a add-on, so I need to pay extra lah. So currently this cap right now is pretty much empty, but there's a USB symbol over there, so meaning that you are supposed to put a USB port to charge on the go lah. Surprisingly, despite being a pocket bike and supposedly as basic as it is, it does come with a fair amount of things that you wouldn't expect to come with a feature bike like this. Okay guys, so up next we come to riding technology, and surprisingly the XO Papio Trail comes packed with some of the riding technology that you wouldn't expect to find on a feature bike like this. Okay, so let me list them out. Okay, so we got full LED lighting all around, electronic fuel injection provided by Bosch, hazard lights, dual channel ABS. For suspension, okay, we got Yuan branded inverted telescopic forks in the front. In the rear, we got a centrally mounted rear monoshock, optional USB port, and the analog and LCD combination gauge cluster. Okay guys, so horn check for the CFMOTO XO Papio Trail. For a little bike like this, it's kind of high-pitched and loud. So up next we come to colors, and this one being reviewed right now in particular, this is called the Nebula Black. And as you can see, I really love the gamer-inspired graphics on this bike. Really has a Mario kind of feel to it, and also those old-school Tetris kind of games as well. Especially love it on the front fender and the tank over here, including the Papio's name being written out in this low resolution kind of text over here. If you ask me, this is more of a contemporary and modern kind of livery, and the other one is the Galaxy Grey, so that is much more of a classic take, which I kind of like also, but this one appeals to me more. And up next we come to price. Okay, so according to CFMOTO Singapore, machine price is listed as 6,800. Add-on COE, of course, it's going to jack up the price lah. For our Malaysian friends, the Malaysian price is 8,888 ringgit.
And I also like on how beautifully designed the Papio is. It has this modern Scourge look, but yet at the same time it has this retro kind of outlook as well, which I really love. The double headlights especially, which reminds me of Triumph, all of those 90s eras sports bike, in which you can really see with the Papio Racer, that's the kind of look that they were going for. But for this, I feel that it's a Grom kind of thing. According to CFMOTO, they are inspired by the scramblers of the 50s. It's just a nice looking, cute little machine, and it just adds on to this non-intimidating factor which this machine is going for lah. Acceleration wise, the pickup off the line surprisingly is good. I think the top end, I'm able to go like maybe 95. That's basically the top speed. You cannot go any faster than 95, which is it's meant to do. It's not meant to be that fast. The low to mid range is actually very good, so that you can hover like obstacles, or you can ride down the rough trails, down the forest or jungle. So people will laugh at its ridiculous size. I mean, it is a pocket bike, and the Grom didn't really get a lot of justice as well. But in terms of the size and outlook, it's no different than the Kapchai lah. I mean, I put this bike side by side to my EX5. Papio Trail is slightly smaller, so it's not too far off from a Kapchai. If you want something like a Kapchai, you can consider maybe the Papio for a change. Like me, I'm not really interested in Kapchais, and I might consider a Papio just because the setup is more like a motorcycle as opposed to an underbone. Suspension wise, given that it's an off-roader, it absorbs most of the bumps and road imperfections decently. Could have been better. You can still feel the bumps and all that, but yet it absorbs them considerably, I feel. So going to the highway now, which I must add, it doesn't do too well. 95 is the top speed that I'm able to do on it, which I'm not really bothered by and even some Kapchais like the EX5 for example, which is my own Kapchai, it's not able to go fast. Maybe if you modify it, who knows, you can even beat out the Kapchais in Malaysia. Speaking of Malaysian Kapchais, the exhaust note on this, wow, it's so deep and loud. I feel that it's a Malaysian Kapchai in disguise, man. It's so unnecessary, but yet, when you're alone, probably alone in the mountainous trails and all that, it's good that you hear this sound because you will be alone in the forest, for example. The noises that it makes kind of keeps you company. Okay. Not only that, there's also a light to tell you to change gear. Once again, 95 is the best I'm able to do with this bike. It's not a fast bike on the highway, but it's okay. It's still able to keep up with the traffic, I feel. This is the max already, and of course, because of its small and stubby windshield, you can feel the full force of the wind in your face and your body right now. And on top of that, the Papio Trail is slightly cheaper than the Honda Grom as well. Now after riding the bike for quite a while, your bum tends to get a bit sore. I'm feeling squeezy on this bike, but vertically challenged riders like me, I'm still sitting comfortably on it. Maybe if you have long legs, you can feel a bit squeezy. The handlebar on this is just nice for me. You can see all of the traffic overtaking me. But if you ask me, you're still able to keep up Highly do not recommend you to go touring on this, because your butt is gonna get a bit sore after riding it for quite a while. But there are Grom owners that went touring with their Grom. If that is all you have, I would say why not. But if there's a choice, I wouldn't want to take the Papio on a tour. Maybe if there's no other bike, or if I'm left with no other choice, I reckon that I would take it with me I'd rather that you take this off-road. But for me, we're not gonna do that because I don't want to damage the bike. I want to give it back in one piece.
Okay guys, so I don't have a lot of time because it's starting to rain. In fact, it's raining right now, so I had 1 week with it, and so far it's a back to basics, simple, easy machine that's not intimidating to the casual rider. It can be a daily, it can be used for recreational purposes. Very beginner friendly, any rider is able to hop on it and adapt pretty quickly. Great handling, great suspension, decent pickup. Shortcomings, I feel, obviously it doesn't go above 100. People around you may think that you look ridiculous riding it, and it's very much a niche bike and it will appeal to certain riders So the CFMOTO XO Papio Trail may seem ridiculous, but it's actually not too far off from what an underbone or Kapchai is. It's also quite comparable to the off-road trail bikes of the Honda Trail 125 and the Yamaha PG1. It's a fun little versatile machine that's easy to navigate and squeeze through heavy traffic. At the same time, there's also the capability to explore forest trails as well. Depending on how you look at it, it may serve well as a recreational bike as well as a daily rider for developing markets. It also seems to be hit turner everywhere I go. Good or bad, it depends on you. Okay, so that's it for the review of the Papio Trail. Huge thanks to CFMOTO for loaning me this bike for the review. You can test ride this bike and also have a look at it at their showroom at Kampung Ubi. And so that's it for the vlog. We'll see you guys in the next one. No, gotta get out of here.